America is in a very angry moment. Republicans attack Democrats, and Democrats return fire. Social media is a showcase of our anger. An analysis by the New York Times this fall found that online use of the phrase civil war has exploded. Now, leading voices in academia and tech are saying that rather than simply reflecting the polarization in society, platforms like Facebook and Twitter are helping to create it. 60 Minutes first met Tristan Harris in 2017. The co founder of the Center for Humane Technology argued that social media platforms were addicting us to maximize profit. Now he's warning they are generating billions by making us angry. What's going on, everybody? This is Trapped in the Timeline. This is episode 15. I'm Half.
And I'm Dre.
And today we are about to get into how social media can have big effects when it comes to American politics. So we're just going to get into how politicians use social media, to kind of let people know about their policies, can kind of sometimes fuel certain policies that maybe a lot of people don't agree with, or people, when people disagree, because when it comes to social media, the negative stuff and all that will get pushed way more harder through the algorithms than the positive stuff and things of that nature. That's just how it is. That's the nature of the beast when it comes to social media. So Dre, what are what are your initial thoughts about this whole thing? About how much of a role social media can play on American politics.
I think it's very alarming because they're using it as a weapon, is what I would say it, because they know who they're going after. And if they're trying to tear you down, they will use this social media as their weapon to tear another, I guess, candidate or somebody that's running against them, or, another demographic if they don't agree with it, or whatever their narrative is. They can use social media to push that narrative. And it's usually to attack them.
Right. No, definitely. Because they definitely use it for like mobilization, and they also use it for like manipulation. They can manipulate a whole lot of people just by one story on social media that can go viral where it shows us one narrative, you know what I mean? And people just
And
hop on it.
sometimes it's their team putting it together. It's
Yeah.
not even the individual that you may be rooting for, maybe your candidate or whatever, but it's this team behind them that have some good tricky fingers back there and
Yeah,
are
no.
gonna slander somebody just so they can, push their narrative and maybe
Well,
win an election or something.
with that being said, even if it is the team, if it's your team, if they're putting it out under your name, I mean, that's still your, you know what I mean? You're responsible for that. And you got to be held accountable for that if your team is putting out some misinformation and stuff. And that's kind of like one of the big major
Now,
problems when
should
it
they be
comes.
held responsible if your team actually goes too far?
Absolutely. Like just like how when Trump, when they tweeted out or on his True Social site, when they tweeted out that video, that AI video, and it was saying that, and at the end they showed a ape or whatever, and that was supposed to be Michelle Obama, and they were
Yeah,
saying,
see, now
"Oh,
shit like that. Now,
yeah,"
how do
and
you
he
know?
said he didn't do that. That was his team and everything. But then we never heard anything. Nobody
And
ever
but
got in
that
trouble.
gives you room to speculate now.
Yeah.
Now, the people that don't like him can say, "Bullshit, he did have something to do with that." People that do like him can say, "Oh, no, he didn't have nothing to do with that. That was his team. Maybe one of them
Exactly.
should get fired." Where's that at? We didn't see you making nothing public about this person getting fired for disrespecting
Absolutely
Michelle
not.
Obama.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, there's no accountability now, or
well, I'm just
so
saying,
period.
if you're gonna come out and say that you didn't have nothing to do with this post of her posting her like she's an ape or something, you should come out and say, "Well, I fired you don't have any other problem disrespecting anybody else when it comes to that and firing people. You make it public. Why you can't make that public?"
Yeah, you already know why. Man, it's crazy.
But you didn't say, "Oh yeah, rush to take it down," or "Who's behind this?" No,
No,
none of that.
absolutely
None
not.
of that.
So we know that the algorithms, they prioritize engagement over accuracy, right? So often promoting sensational
or outrageous content. We always see that. And like that's what I'm saying. Anything outrageous, negative, or whatever, they're gonna push that because they just want people to watch more and more and more. That's their goal of
And
these social
I feel like,
platforms.
yeah, they push that too, but they're still like fourth, because you still got fight videos, got relationship videos, then you got
Oh
all the
yeah.
street shit, and then you got the politics shit that people get into.
Well, and I think that just all matters on what you're looking at because your
No,
feed
no,
is
no,
gonna
that
feed
shit ain't
you.
coming down my timeline.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Are you going to search for politics?
I've searched for it in the past, but that's not the hot shit.
Yeah, well,
Eh,
but that's what I'm. It can shit. The politics
it's a
is the hot
certain
shit.
lane. It's a certain lane.
It is a lane, but it's definitely hot shit. And because these social media platforms, they're influenced by the politicians and stuff, and they want certain favors from these politicians.
Are the
So they're
politicians influenced by these people on social
both.
media?
Both. It goes
Yeah,
both
I think
ways.
it's the other way
It
around.
goes both
'Cause
ways.
they don't really need them damn politicians, you know what I'm saying?
Shit.
They just using them for content. You're just a hot name. If you wasn't
Yeah.
a hot
But that's
politician,
the
I'm not
thing.
fucking with you.
That's how they generate more money, more views and stuff, and that's why they
So,
push all the negative
but do
stuff.
you think more politicians is coming to the social media world, not the social media world going to them?
Well, yeah, because, of course.
Because I feel like the
I mean,
social media
because
world doesn't need them as much as they need the
no,
social
no,
media
yeah, I
world.
mean, because it gives you the social media gives you the platform,
It's the
right?
new news, you
But
know?
but the social media will help them and push their narrative no matter what that narrative is, even if it's
Negative.
misinformation. And more than likely when it's negative, they'll push it harder.
But that's what I've been saying. This internet is a battleground, and these motherfuckers is using it as a weapon.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
them
All
politicians is
all the
getting in
time.
here, and you shooting off something on social media, and guess what? They firing right back. They shooting back. You shoot, I shoot back. That's how it's going on. So yeah, they use it as a weapon. I don't never see them really because they'll
And
slander somebody.
That's what I'm and then politicians, they use social media to kinda directly get to their fan base, their
Oh
voters,
yeah,
or their constituents or whatever, without before, it had to go through the media where the media would fact check shit like, "Alright, hold on, you can't say that because that's not true. This is what happened." Here, they don't have to get fact checked. They could just say some bullshit and
well,
their followers will run with it.
Well, nowadays you got all these bedroom journalists. So I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
And if this motherfucker got a nice little following, then yeah, them politicians is gonna tap in because people was listening and they want that's who they're targeting is the people.
Right.
That's their vote. That's who they need.
And that's what I'm saying. So there, in the before, they would kinda have, you know what I mean, some people like it would
People
it would be
filtering that
filtered. It
shit.
would be
Yeah,
filtered, you know
yeah.
what I mean?
Because they're working for somebody and they don't want to get canceled.
Exactly. They're like, they
Versus,
can't put out that false
yeah.
information. But nowadays, it doesn't even
Yeah, the
matter.
bedroom journal is not gonna get canceled. This
Yeah,
nigga, you know what I'm
that's
saying?
what I'm
And
saying.
so
You
it
could put
just
some
cause
shit out
yeah,
there.
he's doing this shit in the back of his bedroom and he's getting millions of followers, but hey, he's reaching people and that's all they care about.
That's all they care
And these
about.
are the people they want to reach because these are the people that are gonna go out and vote and they need these people to push
Yeah.
their narrative. But
No,
they
for
gotta
real.
take somebody down to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, their campaigns also use vast amounts of user data and highly specific personalized advertisements for like niche demographics and stuff, which can be used to either mobilize supporters or suppress opposing oversight
So you saying they have a racial tone
or, I
going
mean,
though.
opposing voters.
A racial tone is what you're saying they have going.
So, I mean, they could, they use it basically only to a way for it that it affects them positive. I mean, not positively, but makes them look good in the light.
Only in their benefit, basically,
Only
is
in
what
their
you're saying.
benefit,
So if
right?
they're not gaining anything off of it, they not finna put it out there. And they're telling their
Exactly.
team that too. And their team probably has some of their similar beliefs. That's why when you see
Absolutely.
some of these crazy posts and then they don't back it up or they don't hold anybody accountable on their team, if you didn't have anything to do with it, you would go hold somebody accountable for that and make it public because that's your thing anyways. You go public slandering people, so why not do that?
Right, right. And another thing that social media does is it facilitates the rapid organization of grassroots movements, protests, and fundraising, allowing small groups to gain national visibility. You know what I mean? Like practically overnight.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
something that could be used in a positive way. You know what I mean? When people need to have their voice heard, you know what I mean? Because
But look what you just said. Is that more money right there? Because you said fundraising and all that type
well,
of
yeah, I
stuff.
mean, when it
So
comes to grassroots,
so that's
organization.
raising money. So that's a little more financial right there.
Yeah.
So that's I don't know. You know, these dudes is money hungry, all these damn politicians and shit. So I don't know how much that is, because who's that money going to?
Well, those are the grassroots organizations. So those aren't really politics. Those are people kind of fighting against
Oh, you saying the ones
politicians.
fighting against them.
The ones
Okay.
fighting against
Okay.
politicians. Yeah.
Okay.
And then so when it comes to like misinformation and disinformation, which is like the key things that, you know what I mean, that we got to watch out for when it comes to politicians and social media, because they could just throw anything out there. False stories are often spread up to 10 times faster than accurate news because they are more emotionally provocative. And this makes it difficult for voters to distinguish fact from fiction.
Well, yeah, because that's like it's like your favorite player, your favorite artist.
Exactly.
You're gonna back them when something initially
And
negative happens until until it really sinks in that yeah they did this. You know.
and that's the thing. What do you think about that? Why do people why do like before people didn't look at politicians like they were freaking entertainment icons and and people like of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Why do we look up to politicians now like they're these some
Because
sort of
they're
famous
they're
entertainers and
entertainers now because of social media
they
and these
are.
phones and stuff. They became entertainers as well.
So social media has kind of created these personas
It's
around
created
them.
a monster because you got to think before this was just a certain lane on a news channel that you would watch. Some people watch it when it get heated up around the election. Now it's an everyday thing, and these guys are competing with all the other people on social media. They got to stand out. They got to do something wild. They got to be a little feisty. They got to disrespect people so you can what watch their stuff so you can get to their platform and get their narrative going.
Yeah, and what's crazy is what social media has done when it comes to politics. Like you would never like being from California or being from other states, you don't really know too much about the local politics and the state
Right.
you know what I mean? So but now with social media, I know all about like the Texas stuff, you know what I mean, with like, Jasmine Crockett and Tallarico going, you know what I mean?
Right. So let me ask you this. So what you just said right there is something very pivotal because like all the ICE stuff that's been going on. Now, say we didn't have these cell phones and all of this, and maybe this was 20 years ago, we didn't have all this live access with everybody that had a camera and stuff, and you're just casually you may not even casually hear about it because now the news is going to report it. And remember, that's a filter. They may say, you know what, hey, let's cover this one up. Let's not talk about this one too much. Woo, 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 all that stuff. And you may only get a little bit on this ICE stuff. So you don't really know what's going on. Versus now, where you got people with cell phones, people with podcasts, you got people out there on the streets that are showing you the footage, live
Right.
footage, raw footage from their phone, from their mouths. I mean, you're seeing body cam footage now too. So you make up your own decision on what you think is going on because now you can see it and there's other words you would have just heard a politician come, oh no, that's not right, and no, that didn't happen like that, and that's all you would hear.
What's crazy is a lot of people see shit and still will believe what their politician tells them because
Well,
Jesus
that's
Christ.
when it goes back to your favorite fan. You're a
That's what I'm
fan now
saying.
when it's like your
Yeah,
favorite
it's like a
artist.
cult.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Just like when they hear the stuff about Michael Jackson, people still gonna play Michael Jackson, but then versus R. Kelly, it was totally different. It was like, oh
Mm,
no, don't play that R. Kelly shit. But they're both equally as talented. You know what I'm saying?
right.
Both these motherfuckers could sing like a motherfucker. Like, so
I wouldn't go to say equal, but I mean,
but
Michael, no.
in their realm in R&B, R. Kelly's one of the top motherfuckers.
Well,
Name
no,
a
I'm
better
not. No,
motherfucker in R&B. That's
no, no. I'm not saying
you.
he's number one R&B, but and Michael, but
And Mike's
he
number
ain't
one
on
in pop.
Mike's level though. That's what I'm saying.
No, he's not on
Yeah,
Mike's level. But I'm just saying.
but he is the number one R&B, and
I'm
Mike was
saying
the
in
number one in
his
pop.
genre and
Right.
him singing.
Yeah. No, I know
Yes,
he's.
he is on Mike's level. Like you throw on R. Kelly,
Oh
there's no
shit.
doubt, nigga. When you hear this man sing, like, this nigga can
Oh,
blow.
I know.
Just like when you hear
But
Mike,
I'm
you
just
like,
talking about
yeah.
like a full entertainer.
No, that's why I said
Yeah,
nobody's on Mike.
yeah.
Mike had the Mike.
Mike was different.
Mike, you didn't even need a fucking song. This nigga could just start doing dance moves, and you knew
Same.
exactly what song this dude is about to sing.
Man,
Before the beat came on, anything.
for
This
real.
nigga could just start doing dance moves, and you like, okay, that's Smooth Criminal. Oh shit, that's Billie Jean. Like you already knew what was about to come. Like so, yeah.
Yeah.
We're getting a little off topic, but yeah, let's go.
So when it comes to this, also effective polarization. So it's constant exposure to hostile political attacks on social media can lead to effective polarization where citizens do not just disagree with the opposing party, but actively dislike and distrust those associated with it.
Mm.
You see where it kind of just builds this whole little, you know what I mean, kind of.
Tension.
Yeah, and you just have you built up this anger and all this stuff for, you know what I'm saying? It's like, man, just chill out. And
But that's all designed in strategy with them. That's what I'm
that's what I'm
saying.
saying.
All this stuff is strategy with them.
Yeah.
Like, even with some of this shit that they do, you know it's strategy on the internet. Like, this is not their real feelings or this stuff is strategized for them to try to win something or them trying to push a certain narrative or something to go their way, you know? So it's tough with the politicians and all that stuff when you into it with all that and then social media. But that's why I say they need social media more than social media needs them
Oh yeah, no,
because
absolutely.
I don't think they're the hottest
No,
topic on
nobody's
social media.
bigger than social
Yeah,
media.
they're not the
Yeah.
hottest topic on social media. You know, they're bringing in social media stuff to try to keep their names relevant and hot on social media, and so they can, you know what I'm saying, play this game, you know?
I mean, it's crazy how, like stuff shifts over. So like when if Trump or if he posts something regarding the war or something and how the stocks and everything just changes and all that stuff was never social media was never involved. I mean, of course it wasn't
Well,
around
let me ask you this. What do you think most of the people are getting their information from?
social media.
So there it is there.
Yeah. That's
So
the
there's
number
your
one
answer right there. There's your answer right there.
that's the number one
They ain't sitting
source.
there watching the news.
No.
They ain't not watching CNN.
Some people are.
Older people.
Older people, yeah, for sure.
And we consider ourselves a little older. We ain't watching CNN.
No. I
Where
know.
we getting our information from? Same place, the fucking social media. So they better get with social media because that's where all the information's getting spewed out at. And if they
Yeah,
ain't
but
with
that's
it,
the problem. They have to be careful though, as long as when
they
they
don't.
comes to
They got to get on there or they gonna get left behind.
that, but we don't want them spilling out misinformation and getting people, you know what I'm
All they
saying?
shit be misinformation. These motherfuckers is coming to attack you. They ain't coming to so everybody they tell you is a bad person you really think is bad and did this. No, they putting that smut out there. It's a
Yeah,
smut
no, that's what
campaign.
it's about.
So you really believe all that stuff about Michelle Obama coming from him? No.
Oh, I don't
Hell
believe
no.
nothing.
Now maybe if Barack got out there and went on a rant, you might be like, well, you know, he was with the woman for this long. Maybe, you know, some of it might be true. But I ain't hearing it from the opposition. You know what I'm saying? Come on. No, no, no.
Yeah, so no, definitely social media plays a big part in the politics and when it comes to X and like even the president has his own fucking social media platform, Truth.
He's a social media junkie.
He is boy, he does more on social media than he does anything.
Yeah. I mean, money don't mean shit. I think it
Man,
actually fuels them more. The more money you got, the more you on social media acting a fool.
man.
'Cause, man. And they know it. They know social media is the top information getter. So and if you trying to sway people over to your side, you better be on that social media because a lot of people are trapped in the timeline. They sitting there on their phones, can't get off. They in these timelines. And if that shit shows up on their timeline and they like it, they may believe it. They
Oh
may
yeah,
like you. They may vote for you.
absolutely. Oh, definitely.
But then when they see what that vote does, and then they see all these people posting this shit because we voted for something and now it ain't going the right way. Social media is there too.
Yeah. Yeah. You got to use it both ways too. Well, that's it, man. That's social media when it comes to politics. That was episode 15. This is Trapped in the Timeline. I'm Half,
And I'm Dre.
and we'll get back with you guys on the next one.
We out of here.